Hello. Welcome back to Better with Spice. It's your Spice Sisters. What?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Should I start again?
So I'm trying not to cough. I'm like on camera, like.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, hello. It's. Wait. We start again. Well, hello. It's Kobe and.
Wait, why are you not saying welcome back?
I was improving. All right. Well, hello. Welcome back to Better with Spice. It's Kobe
And Viv.
your Spice Sisters. As you can see today, we're having a little bit of a different setup and we're doing this remotely. So I guess those of you who are watching online, it'll look different, but I think hearing it should be fine as well. And the reason why we're doing this is because Viv and I are both sick. Yes. So I think that's a really good segue into our life update this week. Last time we mentioned that we were going to the Taylor Swift concert.
Yay! Which was amazing.
Yes, the concert itself was really, really good. I think seeing Sabrina live changed the way I feel about like wanting to get dressed up and like looking cute.
Like I'm still watching like her in Singapore right now, like all her like, and I'm like, wow, Sabrina. Like I think we were both, when we were there, we were like, wow, she's just so cute.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's not even just her face, like it's like her energy is so cute. Yeah, cute and feminine.
And then Kobe and I both bought white boots.
Yes.
The Sabrina boots, pretty much like the week after we saw her live. We're like, yeah.
We gotta have these shoes.
But yeah, so the concert was amazing. The after concert was not.
Yeah, so one of us got COVID and it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was me. Which I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't know
honestly,
how, like, and how you didn't get it. Like, I don't know how.
Yeah, like, well, I actually saw on TikTok, like, basically, there was someone who said it's a flex to go to Taylor Swift and not get COVID, so, like, I win.
You know what? I feel like I manifested it because remember I showed you, like, literally the week before I went, like, we went. I was like, oh, look at this TikTok where I thought it was going to be a wholesome TikTok, but it was like this girl saying, like, before the Eras tour, during the Eras tour, and after the Eras tour, and it had, like, the COVID test. And I was like, hee, and you're like, no. And I was like, oh. Literally like me.
Yeah, literally. I mean, you did say hee, so you did.
Yeah. So that's why we're trying this remote podcast filming today. And it's probably a good idea we're testing it now because I'm going to be traveling later this year. So this will be a good test run to see how it will turn out and how it sounds.
Yes. So if it sounds terrible, send us a DM on Instagram.
And say never to do this ever again.
Yeah, and I guess we'll try to like pre-record all the episodes.
Or you can just come to Hawaii and we can film it together. Maybe that would be a better option.
Yeah, that sounds like, maybe, yeah, let's just do that. We can do a tour. A Better with Spice tour.
With just you and me, that's it.
Yeah. And Alex, our special guest.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about him.
Oh my god.
So a life update from me, and so I am now officially allergic to all foods.
Did you do a test?
So basically what happened is that I have been suspecting that I'm allergic to beef because every single time I have beef, I break out in hives, and I've been avoiding it, and I was really, really good with it. And then I went out and I had lamb, and the next day, like, my face literally blew up. Like, I asked Will.
Yeah, I don't even know if you want to put a photo up.
No, I do not want to put a photo up. Like, no, like, that shit is censored. But like, I literally showed the photo to my boss because I was like, look, like, I gotta go to the doctors. And then she was like, did you get hit by a car?
No, but are you gonna tell them what Will said?
And Will said that I looked like a corpse.
Oh, no, you said, this is probably what I'd look like if I was murdered and ended up in a sewer. And he was like, yeah. Which is very rude. Excuse me.
I know. Like, hello. But I mean, I honestly looked that way. Like, I looked back
I was
on the
also
photo.
quite shocked.
I was shocked. I felt like, okay, that morning when I woke up, like, I know when I have like a flare up because I've experienced it before, and I was like, yeah, cool, get up, like, you know, brush my teeth, and I'm like, what the, like, it was yeah.
You know what that reminds me of is, like, you know, you've seen that not meme, but like that video of this girl who put on like a face mask, and she forgot that she had a face mask on, like face mask as in like a sheet mask, not like a what would you call it? I guess
not like a Halloween mask.
Yeah, or not like the actual like medical face mask,
like a COVID mask.
Yeah. But so she put on like a sheet face mask, and she forgot she had it on, and she walked past the mirror and she like freaked herself out. She's like, "Who's that?" That's kind of like how I imagine you waking up. You're like, "Oh yeah, it feels a little bit like swollen, like itchy," and then you look in the mirror, you're like, "What the fuck?" But hey, at least it's better now. So you didn't do an allergy test, but you should probably.
I did do an allergy test.
Oh,
I went to the doctors, and they're now testing for beef, lamb, seafood, and something else. But I'm like, imagine like I have to like who develops an allergy to meat? Like, I've never had this issue before, so I don't know what's going on.
That's so like I was trying to figure out too, like how, like why. And is it the way it's cooked, or is it like certain ingredients in there? And how do you just suddenly become allergic to red meat?
Yeah, well, I've actually because over the last year I also noticed that I can't eat like cabbage anymore, and then I actually asked a friend of mine who is a nutritionist, and she said like this actually happens a lot, like over time, like with age you can develop allergies. But like I felt like, you know, with cabbage, like I can accept that, that's fine. But like if you tell me, oh, you're now allergic to like all meats and you have to become vegetarian, it's literally like, what?
It's your worst nightmare.
Like, what's going on? Like, what would I even cook for dinner?
Just
like,
chicken.
what would I do? But like, Will eats so much red meat that I'm like, so do I have to cook like 2 different types of meals? Like,
or you have to cook vegan meat.
Oh,
so God, it's still red meat, but like obviously not.
Yeah. But like I heard like soy is also really bad for you if you have inflammation, which is like what, you know, eczema is. So that's fun. Anyway, so that is why we're not recording live today.
Well, not because of your swollen face, but like...
Oh, and also, I'm also getting a bit sick, but I don't know if it's because... I don't know. Like, I feel like my sinuses are like really blocked and congested.
Well, I'm just trying not to cough in your face, so...
Yes. And Vivian doesn't want to catch my sinus issues. When clearly she's the one who's sick, not me.
No, I just cannot, like... Literally taken me like 2 weeks, so I'm like, if I get sick again, it's I will just
I don't want to get murdered, so we're
and look like that in the like reality in your face.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just testing to see how this goes, but that's why we are temporarily separate, but we will reunite next week.
Yes. And then that reminds me of you know this trend on TikTok that's like
twin.
Oh, yeah.
Where
that's it.
Nobody knows me like you.
When you just said like we're temporarily separate.
The annoying thing is like I feel like we should film that, but then it won't be relevant next week.
I know.
Anyway, Anyway, so initially we wanted to film a more intimate get to know us type of episode today, but we felt that because we weren't sitting next to each other, it's a little bit disjointed and not as vibey. So instead, we're going to do sort of a quick episode of wrapping up our February reads, maybe going into some loves and hates of our reads, and then what we want to read for March. So kind of like, yeah, just kind of quick catch up vibe.
Yes, let's do like a bookish catch up.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we haven't,
Cool.
I don't think we really talked about what we read this month. Well, like this past month in February.
No, not at all. And I think like if this is a fun episode, like maybe we can add this into like our monthly agenda.
Well, I think it's good because I like watching what people have read for the month.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, that's how I usually get my like
TBR.
what I add to my TBR. So yeah, let's do that.
But the problem is Kobe's only read 3 books last month, which is not a problem. But I read like double. Yeah, so
yes,
I feel like you should go first.
Maybe let me tell you all the books that I tried to read this month and stopped reading and why. Yeah, and then
True,
okay,
because you're DNF, so it's not like you actually only read 3 books. You just finished 3 books.
Yeah, like maybe what I should actually start tracking is how many pages I've read a month, because I do read like quite a significant amount of books that I like don't finish. But the reason why I didn't read that much this month is because I was traveling in February. Most of February I was away, and when I was away I did have like a very ambitious target of reading, like I had like a full TBR going of the books that I wanted to read. But I didn't get through any of them because they were just not the vibe.
Good.
Okay. So the first book that I read, I tried to read, was What You Are Looking For Is in the Library. So, but when I was planning of what I was going to read when I was going to Japan, I saw this book, and it is basically a very short book about literally what it is. It's people go to this library. It's like it's like magical realism, and they go into this library and they have like this certain thing going on in their life. So for example, there was a character where he just wasn't passionate about his career anymore, and he wanted to go to the library just to learn a bit more about, like, you know, starting his own business. And then he goes and meets the librarian, who this librarian kind of knew, like, by looking at her customers, she knows like what they need in their life and makes a recommendation based on that. So, and it's also by a Japanese author, and I thought, you know, I'm going to Japan, I want to read like some Japanese authors. Yeah, so I did pick the book up, and it is a good book. The reason why I stopped reading it is because, like, when I was traveling, I was having a lot of thoughts about, like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life, like, in with my career, in my corporate role. And it was just too real. It got too real. So I was like, I can't read this. I can't read this anymore. It's because I'm like a major avoider. So I'm like, no, I don't want to read anything that's like,
because you don't want to know what happens. It's like, imagine it's like, oh,
yeah,
just do this.
You should quit.
Yeah.
Well, like, that's exactly what it was. Like, I felt like the storyline was progressing where this guy realizes, oh, like, I should leave the job I'm in with job security and chase something that I'm really passionate about. And I was like, oh, I can't do with that.
You're not ready.
So, yeah, like, I wasn't ready to face that at that point. So that's why
how
I finished.
Much did you get into it before you decided not to?
36%.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty significant chunk of it. I think I'm going to keep reading this book, though. It was really good.
I was going to ask,
and
like, would you read it? Like, would you still finish it? Just not the right time.
I think so. I really do like Japanese authors as well. Like, the writing style, of course, is because it's also translated. Like, it's quite simple to read, and it's quite, like, the lessons in it are less like cryptic, and I do enjoy that. So yes, I will finish reading this book. And then I started to read Song of Achilles.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually started this book when I was snowboarding, and during like the rests and like the breaks in the day, I sat at the cafe and I started reading this book, and I really, really did like this book. And if you haven't heard of this book before, it's literally about it's like a fleshed out version of what happened with Achilles and his life, and it's very, very beautiful. I definitely think that the writing, like I think her name is Madeline Miller. Yeah, her writing style is really, really beautiful, and it actually reminds me of Magnolia Parks in that way, where it's like there's a deep, it's like very melodic and metaphorical, her writing. So, but I just didn't think that at the time. Like, it's not the type of book that you can read like 2 pages and then leave it and then come back. So I stopped reading it, and I was 20% in. I don't think it's heavy. It's just that you need to get lost in it because it's, set in ancient
It's not
Greek.
like an easy read.
Yeah, it's not like a fun, silly little romance. Like, it's not that.
Is it romance?
It is definitely a romance. There's like, it's like heartbreaking. You can just tell it's heartbreaking. And it's actually listed on one of those, in a lot of those, like, saddest books of all time, like those type of books, lists. So, yeah.
Nice.
And then I also started reading A Court of Mist and Fury.
Well, you're not starting, you're still continuing.
Yeah, I'm still reading it. I am still on 30%. Maybe that's like where I tend to stop, is around the 30% mark. But I'm where Feyre. Actually, I think I gave the exact same update last time. But like she's like just gone to the jail, and I don't know what they're doing there. Like the like that's what was going to be revealed next, and I never got up to that.
As in she's gone with Rhysand.
Yes, to the jail, and
to
then she's
get
like
some
having
answers.
Flashbacks. Yeah, some kind of flashback thing is gonna happen.
Right.
Some kind of adventure. So I don't know what's going on.
I can't tell you anything.
Yeah, so again, I felt like I don't know if you feel this, but like there are certain books where I'm like, I can't read this until like the vibe is right. Because I know if I'm just like reading it,
sure,
it's just gonna ruin the book, or like it's not gonna do it justice. And I felt like that was a book that.
Well, I think all 3 of those books that you just listed are very moody type of reads. Yeah, like you can't read it if, like, none of those books I feel like you can read on the beach, for example.
Exactly. Yeah. It is definitely like I've got a whole afternoon. I have like a coffee and I'm just gonna sit and read for like 2 hours. I think that it was those like that type of book.
So why don't you tell the readers what book you did read and finish?
Okay, so I actually finished 3
books.
Not
the readers, sorry, the listeners.
We are readers. So I finished Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings,
which is our book club pick. So if you didn't watch the episode, please do, because we dived an hour worth of like conversation about how we feel about Magnolia.
Yes, and it's like, I would say it was one of our best episodes so far. So you definitely go back and watch it. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good episode.
Well, actually, side note, one of my friends-ish, like followers who listen, well, like she's my friend, but we've never met, obviously, because she lives in New Zealand. Well, actually, she will be listening to this, so hello, Yanni. But she started the same, like I told her to start the book at the same time as us, but she was like kind of busy, so she stopped. But then she doesn't mind spoilers. She actually really likes spoilers, so she listened to our episode, and then she was like, oh my god, I need to know what happens next. So she kind of just read all the spoilers for the next books, and she's like, can you believe this happened? Because I'm obviously up to where she's up to, and then so it's really interesting because like at least it's like she thought the episode was really funny, and then she's like, it's making me want to go and read the book.
Oh my god. Well, that's amazing, but also, sorry, I don't want to speak to you.
Yeah, I can't speak to you. I really want to talk to you about it, but I can't.
Yeah, we'll talk once I finish reading the series.
I'm like dying.
But maybe what we actually need to do is start like, like the Fable app, like a book club on that app. So then we can read like on the app as well. Like, because I think it's really cute and fun to have those updates. But like, because like, I think the hard part is, and you're also experiencing this right now, is like you're ahead of me. So like you can't talk to me about any of the stuff, but you can drop your views on the app and I'll look at it when I'm there.
Yeah, true. We can do that.
You're like, no.
I just want to be able to talk to you though.
No, don't talk to me. Blocked until I'm like, get there.
Oh, like I'm like, I have to keep writing my notes like in my phone so I can like tell you. Yeah. But then all my notes are very like live reactions, so it feels so like disjointed right now. And I'm like, do I just send it to you as a doc so you can read through like my reactions? Because I don't want to go back and be like, oh, this is what I said. This is what I said.
Well, that's what I felt when I read the first book and you hadn't even picked it up yet.
True. I feel you. Yeah. Do you want to...
But let me... Well, actually, on the episode, I think I rated the book 4.25 or 4.5. But I now have officially bumped up the rating to a 5-star.
Oh, I think after talking about it, I bumped the rating to 4.5 from a 4.2.
Yes. Yeah. So I think like the discussion definitely
helped.
Yeah, helps. Yeah. I think it's like helped to digest it a little bit. And I think that's also like part of the reason why like talking about a book is so fun, right? Like it's like, oh God, like I never thought about it that way, or like things that you picked up on.
So you finished Magnolia. Yep.
Yes. And the second book I read, and this is a book that I picked up, like I thought I realized, I shouldn't be reading some serious books because I'm traveling. So I picked up Priest by Simone Simons? No. I don't know what her name is. Oh, wait. Sierra Simone. Yes. Sierra Simone. So I picked up Priest by Sierra Simone. And if you haven't heard of this book, okay, so it is literally, it's about a priest who falls in love with a woman who comes to his church, essentially. And I would say smut rating, like 4 out of 5. Plot rating,
like 0.
I mean, there was a plot into it. Like, it actually had a pretty good plot for a smutty book, but it wasn't a good plot. There was a plot.
You're not reading for the plot, honey.
And I thought it was like a fun and appropriate read for what I was doing. Like, you know, I'm in line, like waiting for a ramen. Like, you know, I've got 20 minutes. I'm going to read this. Do you think that's appropriate
read while you're waiting for ramen?
You know what was really funny? So we were traveling, and this was like the leg of our trip where we were traveling with other people. So there was like 5 of us, and like our friends and Will, they were talking about some very political question around like Donald Trump and like leadership in America and how it's going to impact the economy. And then I'm just standing in line like, oh yeah, get it.
Yeah, read us a line.
Like, I'm not a deep person.
Read us a line.
No. Like, let me tell you, the book was very, very fun. But I gave it a 3-star.
Which is actually not bad, honestly.
It's not bad. But I think like basically... We've talked about this, but I think the way my reading tastes have changed over time. Like, I think I would have given this at least a 4-star before, maybe like 2 years ago. But I am currently in my like non-insta love era, and like this was just so insta love, but it was definitely hot. So it was a fun read. And the last book that I did finish was The Teacher by Frida McFadden, aka the author that I will read anything she puts out.
Is that the one that's The Inmate?
Yeah, The Inmate, The Housemaid, The Housemaid's Secret.
Yeah, I haven't read any of her books yet, but it's on my list.
Well, she's really, really good. I think like her books are something that like you read and it's so quick to get, like they're so addictive. So basically on our flight home, like it's like a 9-hour flight, and it was during the day, so we had to stay up the whole time or else like our sleeping cycles would be messed up. So I read her book and I read
the
whole
entire
thing
book pretty
during
much.
the flight. Yeah, the entire book
Wow,
on
nice.
the flight. Yeah, and like it was so good that although I was tired, I was like, yeah, I can gun through this flight easily. Yeah, it was really enticing. So basically the story is it's about a teacher, and so she has a student where actually let me restart. It's about a teacher, and her husband, they both teach at the same school. And they have this one student who had a really complicated history. She was involved in this drama where it also resulted in another teacher being fired. So the mystery or the tension is that you don't know who to trust, right? And it's also a common theme in Frida McFadden's books. It's like you don't know who's like is the narrator the one who's got issues or is it whoever she's accusing. So yeah, it was really good. It was very gripping and I do recommend it, and I gave it a 4-star.
Why not 5?
I don't think thrillers generally I give 5 stars because like a 5-star for me is a book that like, you know, I can't stop thinking about, but like I haven't really thought about this book since I put it down.
But it's enough to be a like one finish.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, it's like I'm gripped enough to read it through, but I wouldn't think about it again.
Yeah. Nice. So that's actually, I guess, like, what's your average book per month if you weren't traveling?
I think I read around 5 books per month because also including audiobooks, but I didn't listen to any when I was away.
Okay, nice. Well, it makes me feel like I have too much to say because I read 10 books in February, which actually is a slow month for me because I am like 5 books behind schedule, I think, based on my reading goal. And it's giving me major anxiety.
5 books a week. Wait, how many books do you have on your goal? What's your goal?
I think my goal is 120. I've only
120
for the year, and
5 books behind.
I have 4
How many
books
did you
behind
read
now.
in January?
Well, I think I only read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books in January. That's why I'm like delayed.
Okay.
So
so you have to read 10 books a month to hit that goal.
So That's hit
intense.
February, but I'm like obviously behind. So this February was like a kind of, I don't know, like a all over the place month because January I finished the month with 2 really good books, which was you know, I was trying not to get into a book slump. So I was like, okay, I need to start reading books. And I was like so anxious about being so delayed that I was like, okay, I need to throw in some like quick novellas in there to get my reading goal up. So I read a mix of contemporary, fantasy, mafia, and obviously finished a month with Magnolia Park. So maybe I should start with my first book of February was Business Casual by B.K. Borison, which I mentioned in our first episode that I was looking forward to read, which is the 4th book of the Love Light Farms Love Light series. I rated it a 4.7, which is quite high for me, and it was such a nice book. But it's like a couple called Charlie and Nova. Nova is a tattooed girly who wants to open a shop in Inglewood, I think it's called, and Charlie is like kind of like the typical, I don't know, like the fun playboy-ish vibe, but deep down has like a reason why he's like kind of like trauma. So I think all her books, like I really love her writing style because it feels like a hug. Like it just kind of, it's very, very descriptive with atmosphere. So because her books are like, especially this series is all set in seasons, so she really describes like spring and summer and snowfall and like the autumn leaves, and it just makes you feel like you're in the town and you want to go visit.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that sounds so good.
I feel like that's why I really enjoy her books, and sometimes I think those books can get a little bit wishy-washy because it's too descriptive, and then you're kind of just like, oh, like okay, like I kind of want to get into the plot, not constantly get like descriptions about how this looks like or the trees or whatever. But I feel like she writes it in a way where it's nice and it just really just makes you feel like
oh, like that makes it sound so good that I want to like bump it up.
I feel like and it's like I think I don't know, like each one has a different sort of theme-ish. Like most of it's kind of like, I guess like a little bit, there's best friends to lovers, the first book. The second book is kind of like, she's like kind of, I guess, grumpy sunshine-ish. And then the third book was fake dating. And then this one is kind of like friends with benefits turned lovers. So like it's a different trope each book, so it's quite nice. But yeah, so that started off really well. Then I read Collide by Bao Cabra. I'm pretty sure it's an ice hockey. I just kind of was like, I need something to.
Oh yes, it's like the cover is like.
It's really like cute.
Yeah. I know. I have seen cute. That. Yeah.
But the rating overall, like, on Goodreads isn't amazing. It's like 3.8, which I guess it's still not too bad, but I rated it a 3.5. I'm actually
surprised. I'm surprised that you read a book with a 3.8 rating.
Yeah, because I'm such a stingy. Like, I don't read anything under 4.
Yeah, exactly. So what made you pick it up?
I just thought it can't be that bad.
I mean, it could.
I think it was just like, sometimes with these books that you know that even though it's like a 3-star, it will be still a relatively entertaining read. Like it's not going to be like amazing, but it's still enough to keep you out of a book slump. So yeah, I thought it's been on my TBR and it's like, I was just like, it doesn't sound terrible. And I actually was very, very pleasantly surprised. So
nice.
Yeah, like 3.5, I thought I finished it like quite quickly. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cute. Like, just, yeah. And then I was like, okay, let's go like into fantasy. So I read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent, which is, do you know about you probably would have seen it. It's the Serpent and the Wings of the Night.
Yeah.
So it's kind
of
like,
of the series.
It's kind of like, I guess, the end bit of that duo.
Oh, so it's like a continuation of that series.
Honestly, because I read The Serpent like ages ago, I was like, I honestly struggled to get into the book because I was like, what's happening? Like, is it existing at the same time? Or like, yeah, I was like, it's definitely, I think it's like existing at the same time, but it's a completely different, they don't even talk about the other characters obviously at all.
Oh, so it's set in the same world, but like it's like
completely different,
like a spin-off.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's like,
okay,
yeah, a spin-off, because I think they have like another one that's like Slaying the something else, Slaying like whatever. So I don't know, it the 3.5 still mainly because I like vampires, but honestly I can't even remember what really happened. But a novella next was A Risk Worth Taking by Jessica Joyce. I don't know if you've read, do you know Jessica Joyce? I read, she's kind of, I think like, I think I only know her through like some TikTok stuff. Like I don't really.
Oh. I've never heard of her before. Let me look her up.
She did this book called You with a View, which I rated 3-star, but it's actually rated really well on Goodreads. Like it's 4.17.
For a novella?
No, this is her actual book. But the book I read was a novella. And I rated it 3.8. It was like really, like, it was like, I was like, it's under 100 pages. Like I literally read it in like 30 minutes.
Wait, what's her name again? Jessica
Joyce.
Okay. Because I also need to get my act together and read some short books.
Yeah, I think this one might be good. Like it's literally like, but you know, I just saw one of the reviews and it says a risk not worth taking. Because the book is like a risk worth taking. Honestly, sometimes it's like you just need
Yeah, I think sometimes it really depends on the vibe as well. Just like depends on what you're looking for. I mean, the cover is cute.
Yeah.
Is it a Christmas book?
No.
Oh, oh, you even wrote a review.
Yeah, I did. Well, it's a very short review. I was just like kind of fluffy.
Do you usually write reviews?
I've been trying to write reviews this year so that I can remember why I rated each one.
That is okay. I'm gonna add it to my want to read.
One that you don't need to add though is my next book.
Okay.
No hate, but like I rated it like a 2, which is very, very low. I actually borderline think that I didn't finish it. I can't remember whether I completely finished it, like skipped a few chapters and read the last chapter type of thing.
Wait, how? How can you possibly skip a chapter? Like what?
It was just that.
Like, okay, what book was it?
It's a ice hockey book by, I'm so sorry, but it's by Lauren Blakely, and it's called Thoroughly Pucked.
I'm gonna look it up.
I think it's a why choose. I'm pretty sure it was a why choose.
But like that's like your favorite genre.
Yeah, no, it was not. As in, it was just. And I think one of the top reviews was, I could not for the life of me tell you which guy was which, and that was literally me. Like I did not know what it was too chaotic. I don't know what was going on. Like everything was just like. So yeah.
I think that's a problem with like a why choose. And like remember how we were reading what was that book about the girl with the vampires? It had like a pink cover.
Girl with the vampires.
So like she was like adopted by these vampires and then
they
looked
Elora.
after her. Yeah. And like I think with Elora it's like the same, right? Whereas like there's so many guys where I'm like, who are you talking about? Like when the why choose, it has to be so distinct.
That and one was bad too, Elora. A bit Wattpad-y.
It was so Wattpad.
We had a bit of a technical difficulty actually, so let's just segue back into the segment. Okay, next book I read, which you really want to read, is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which is honestly something that's like all over my TikTok right now. Like
Same.
Everyone is going absolutely mental for it. Look, I rated it a 3.5, which isn't terrible, but so pretty much it is about a vampire. I think she's vampire, right? Yeah, vampire and werewolf vibe, which for Ali Hazelwood, I think it's like her first ever diving into like fantasy, because she always does the like contemporary romance. And I also have only read like 2 of her books before, which I didn't mind, but it wasn't like amazing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think everyone's going crazy because it's the first time she's written anything remotely fantasy, as well as it kind of goes into like Omega-verse vibe, which if you don't know what Omega-verse, like Omega trope, I don't know, Omega genre is kind of like fated mates, but make it like werewolf alpha why choose type of like situation. It's kind of when there's like definitely always a pack of like alphas, and they will have like an Omega, which is why it's called Omega verse, who kind of is the center of the pack, and it's like very smutty. It's like it's kind of all smut. So I think everyone was like, oh my gosh, is it like it's like her smuttiest book, and it's kind of like dealing with like like werewolves and nodding and all that stuff. So overall, I feel like for someone who hasn't read any Omega stuff, it's like a good introduction to Omega books. But if you're someone who is coming from reading a lot of that, you'll find it falls a little short. Was it terrible?
Way?
I don't know. It's just kind of like when it's too much too soon. it's kind of
do you mean like the smutty scenes were too much too soon?
I actually can't even tell you why. I need to go back and read my review. I think I was just like, yeah, I said it's a good introduction, and I love fated mates type of. Alex just flushed the toilet. I'm wondering if you can pick it up on camera. Anyway, I said I love the fated mates trope, but just didn't hit the same because obviously I'm such a romantic-y girly. So I feel like the fated mates need to have a lot of like sacrificial love, or like kind of that deep like. Sorry, I can hear all the sounds.
So can I.
Yeah, Kobe can hear it too. It's alright. Yeah, I think it's just because maybe I'm having too much high expectations because of the fact that I read so many fantasy romance, and I'm viewing it as a fantasy book rather than kind of it's just contemporary that's like with fantasy vibes. So if I adjusted my expectations, it would be a lot different. And I think maybe because it was very predictable, but I was like, will I read it if it has a sequel? Like 100%. Like it's one of those like, it wasn't terrible, but it was like, if she keeps writing it, I'll still keep reading it type thing.
I don't know if this is wrong information, but I thought Ali Hazelwood was actually a Omega First fanfic writer. So yeah, like I think that's like her origin.
I think maybe that makes sense because I think I read something where this was part of like a Wattpad type, as in like it's, and she's decided to publish it or something.
Yeah. Well, did it give Wattpad?
No, I don't think it gave Wattpad. I just think it was like she hit a lot of the different topics that are in Omega books.
Yeah.
But not deep enough where it hit you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And
so
I
it's
think
kind of
maybe
like, or like just the surface level type.
And I think like because like you're a fan of like not fanfic, fantasy novels where it's like a series and relationships build over time.
Yeah,
like, I
and
think,
it's
like
really deep. Yeah, because it still felt contemporary. Yeah, but
interesting.
I mean, everyone loves it, so I still feel like it's still definitely a read, especially if you like Ali Hazelwood as well. So you should read it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think like what drew me was like the cover. Like I was like, the cover's like stunning. Yeah, so I really want to read it. So I probably will still read it. I've never read any Omegaverse before.
Yeah, and maybe it's like I feel like I have a personality that's like very like I don't know what it is. Okay, my therapist will be able to tell me what it is, but it's like it's kind of like, like when you love something first, you hold it like really dear to your heart, right? So then if everyone starts talking about it, you're kind of just like, yeah, but I not like in a gatekeep vibe, but it's more just like, you don't feel the same thing I feel. Like it's like my little baby, like, you know.
Yeah, no,
or
I get
like
what you mean.
I guess it's like kind of how people think about like ACOTAR and Fourth Wing sometimes, where deep fantasy readers might not even rate those books as high, but they feel like everyone's into fantasy because it's popular on Book Talk or whatever. So kind of this vibe where now everyone's like, oh my god, like nodding or like slutty, like smutty. What type of smut is this? This is the smuttiest book I've ever read. And I'm just kind of like, sit back, honey. Like this is nothing compared to deep Omega books, you know? So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my camera turned off again.
Oh,
you know what? Should I just record on my phone?
Yes, you should.
Yeah, let me just do that. Okay. But wait, for the rest of this segment, like we'll just focus on you first.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I can.
No, just like with the rest of this book. But like, no, I think like with, yeah, like I think like if it's like a first introduction to the genre, it probably is a good segue.
It's a good introduction. Yeah. And then you can kind of learn a bit about it, and you're like, do I enjoy this? Do I not? And then you might then start reading
make a
like,
decision.
Like Omega centered books, which is like,
But I think like with wait, what was I gonna say? I had something very profound to say. Oh no, with expectations. So I actually watched a video, and it was like a deep dive or a video essay on like just like the romance genre in general, and how a lot of people like hate on the genre because it's like, oh, it's so airy fairy, or like it's so unrealistic. But I think like what the point it was making is, when you walk into like a sci-fi movie, you have certain expectations, and then so like when you walk into a romance movie, you should also have the same kind of expectations. And I think like what you're saying is that like, because you're seeing the genre with like a romantasy kind of lens, it doesn't, it will fall short to that,
which is it's a me problem.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's not a book problem, it's a me problem, because I'm setting the expectation.
Exactly.
But if that was my first type like of book like that, I would be like, wow, this is so different. I can see why there's a hype. She's writing something that's like not just contemporary. Like, it's still a very good book. It's just, for me, it fell short. But for a lot of people, they're like, wow, what is this? Like, I want to read more. So
yeah. And like, how would you rate it on a smut level, like out of 5?
Like a 3.
Oh, that's like nothing.
But it's really smutty. But sometimes like we talked about this, it's like sometimes smutty can be off-putting.
Yeah, it's like bad smut because there's no build up.
But it's not necessarily bad smut. I just thought it was like not, I don't know. I don't remember it being that smutty. But I think for Ali's audience, it's quite smutty because most of her books don't really have that much smut in it.
Yeah. Then I think that makes sense. Like, it's like when
the tension was like good though. Like,
I think I will still read it. I think I will read it.
I think you should read it still. I said that had cute moments and the tension like kind of thing, like it was still good.
Oh, that's good. Okay, bear back.
All right, you put your camera on while I'll just wait here. Interlude. Okay.
All right, continue.
We're back again. We're back again. This time, Kobe has resorted to iPhone.
Yes. Therefore, the quality and angles will look different, but we're trying our hardest.
Yes. Well, maybe what we can do as a future episode is how to start your podcast as two people who have honestly zero experience. So it will make people be like, oh, okay, it's easier to like to do this and this. So we're already learning tips just from this.
Yeah, we'll definitely make an episode of how to transition between a content creator that works for like, you know, by themselves to working with two people with bad technology skills.
How to make a podcast, like literally podcast for dummies. That's what we are doing right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all in all, with Bride, still would recommend it, and I'm curious to know what you think once you read it. But my next book was actually a very surprising book, and I rated it almost 4.5.
Nice.
Which is very, very high. It's also kind of a novella, and it is The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren, which I didn't realize is actually 2 authors. Like,
really?
Yeah, like it's actually a girl called Christina and I think Lauren, and they've made it into. So they're actually a duo writer, what? And I was like so confused.
Wait, Exception to the Rule, is this the one where it was stuck in an elevator?
No, it is. It's. I read it literally. I thought this was like the most like universal thing ever because I read it on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Right. And the book is set on Valentine's Day, like every February 14th. And I was like,
oh, this is like they're like emailing each other.
Yeah, they're like pen pals.
Yes, I read the same book. I read it in January.
Oh, nice. What did you rate it?
I think I gave it a 4 star. It was really cute. Yeah.
I thought it was really, really cute. Yeah, so Christina Lauren is they're like 2 best friends called Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was like super confused as well. So they write obviously Love in Other Words and The Unhoneymooners, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this book I rated a 4.4. I literally was like, what in the book world happened? Because like I literally picked this book up last night and like it was so cute. I thought it was actually such a cute book. Like I was like,
I actually Yeah, no, I actually read it because like how I saw it was like that. I think Amazon was doing like a series for Valentine's Day. So there's like this book is actually part of a huge Valentine's Day collection, and they're all on Audible.
Yep.
Yeah. So I listened to it when I was packing, and then like I thought this one and the one before it is also really really good.
Well, it was my first Christina Lauren book. So I feel like I was like, okay, I really enjoy their writing style.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cute. So I'm excited to read more.
Yes.
But anyway, so after that, I was like, okay, I've kind of read a lot of contemporary romance and I feel like I need something a little bit like different. So I finally read, and I mentioned this in our last podcast, Danielle Laurie's books, which is The Sweetest Oblivion and The Maddest Obsession in the Maid series.
What was that?
I rated the first book a 3.3 and the second book a 4. Second book was my favorite. I honestly don't really have too much to say about it. Anyway, so The Sweetest Oblivion is book 1, and it's kind of like, honestly, it's just like a mafia book. So these girls who are like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like,
cool.
The first book is like this girl who gets like married into like a forced marriage of convenience between two mafia families, and it's just kind of like that. And I just felt like it was like, what am I it's chaotic. I think it's just unhinged.
Okay.
Chaotic.
Unhinged, or like was it the writing was like random?
I just I said book is so unhinged, but I ate it up. Like I still feel
that's good.
But it just like,
you only gave it a 3 point something star though.
Yeah, I just thought the plot was like so like chaotic. That's all I could like say. And that was the book that I was telling you that I just felt like I didn't know how old she was until the last second last chapter. So to me, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm reading. How old is this bitch? Like like, what am I reading? Like, she sounds about 12.
Yeah.
And it made sense because she was only 21. And I was like, okay. Like, but it's still, like, for me, everyone was saying the second book was really good. So, I don't know about you, but, like, for example, in a series, especially when the author says they're standalones, like, they can be read, like, separately, but you will get, like, spoilers from each book, right? If you don't read them in order.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so for me, I don't know why I just can't, like, I can't then skip the first book and read the book that everyone likes, because I just feel like, am I going to miss too much of the story, or like, you know, is it not going to give enough context? So I still try to push through and read like the first book, even if the third book is like the best book. But sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just not waste my time, because the first book was just not amazing. And if I didn't know that the second book was good, I would have just been like, I'm not going to read the rest of the series. Yeah, but the second book was significantly better. Like, character development was there. Like, the tension was a lot better. Like, you know, and I was like, oh, this is like a solid 4. But I was just like, that first book was just like not it.
Like, I think I'm the opposite of you. Like, if I know the book is bad, I'm like, no.
Yeah, see, I think I need to let go of that. Like, I'm just...
Yeah, like a perfectionism on like the reading order. Like, there are certain series where I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to read like the third book, and then I start reading it and I'm like, who are they talking about? But I think like that's also just like like, I don't know, like it's hard. Like, it depends on the writing style. Like, if they talk a lot about a previous couple and I'm like, what are you on about? Then that's also bad. But yeah.
Yeah, so those books overall... just a shrug. I'm just shrugging. But then I finished the month with Magnolia Parks, which is now like obviously a 4.5, and then I started this month with pretty much the rest of the Magnolia Parks series. So
yes, don't talk anymore. Like, that's it. I don't want to hear anymore.
But overall, my month wasn't too bad for February.
Yeah, that's a pretty good month. Like, so how many? Like, you didn't have any 5-star rates?
No, the closest would be Business Casual, which is 4.7, and then Magnolia Parks, which is 4.5. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's a pretty good month. I would say that's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good.
mean, I usually sometimes there's been months where I literally it's just all 3 stars.
That's so disappointing.
It's like just constantly like
When I think like when I have multiple 3-star reads, it's just disappointing. Like it's like, why am I even reading at all?
I
Like
know,
this shit
and I'm
hobby.
like it's yeah. But what is
So
on your
maybe
like TBR for March? How many books are you planning to
Okay.
read for March?
So I am currently reading a very big book. So, and it's also already the 10th of March.
I know, yeah.
So I'm just going to be conservative and say I want to read at least 2 books.
Nice. Set your expectations low so you'll be surprised.
Exactly that. So what I am currently reading, I am reading A Little Life. I'm reading it with my friend.
I can't.
So that's why I'm like, I don't really want to be reading multiple books because it's such a, like I'm reading it and it's very dense. It's a dense book.
I think I want you to do like a mini review for me because I don't know if I'm got the mental capacity to read it, but I'm curious to have a spoiler-free review.
Well, I'm actually vlogging the entire thing.
Oh, nice.
So I am going to be posting it on my YouTube channel. So
Plug.
Yeah. I'm the Healing Bean on YouTube, so I'll let you guys know when I post that video.
Cute.
And maybe you'll be seeing me like ugly crying online. Hello, welcome.
It's all about authenticity.
Yes, that's right. And vulnerability. And then my second book that I'm reading is called You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry.
Yes, nice. Do you like Emily Henry's books?
Yes, yeah. So this is my second Emily Henry book. So we'll see, because I've heard that there are some books that people love, and like either you love one or you hate the other. So we'll see. Have you read any Emily Henry books?
No, I think the only one that is tickling my fancy is Happy Place.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So I still haven't dived into any of her books yet because, I don't know. I guess, just it's definitely high-ish on my list, but I feel like it's a very typical, I don't know, it's like a specific mood for Emily Henry's books.
Yeah. I think like her books remind me more of like literary fiction than romance. Like it's really like blurs that line. So I do think it's like you got to sit and read kind of book.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, it's not on my list yet. But I also don't know if Happy Place is like a happy book or not, because I feel like people are saying it's not a happy book.
A lot of people, I've literally seen people say a happy place, like it should be called a sad place,
a depressing place.
It is. Yeah.
So for March, I've read 3 books already. I'm on my 4th book, which is the last book for Magnolia Parks. Not saying anything.
What the hell? Like literally insane.
And I have 5 major books on my TBR for March, and I've got 2 fantasy picks. The first one is called Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. I don't know how to.
Oh, that is also on my TBR. My friend actually read that and recommended it. So
yeah, it's very high on like Book Talk universe right now, along with the other one called When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. So they're 2. I couldn't tell you what they're about. I just know they're fantasy. So I feel like I want to kind of go back into fantasy because Magnolia's books are so contemporary, and I'm like, I'm ready to finish the series-ish. Well, like there's still one more book, but like ready to finish Magnolia and like do a different genre. And then I have Manacled.
Oh, yes.
Which I think we discussed whether we want to make it a book club pick. So I'm still going to see if we would make that. So it's kind of like on my list of really want to read, but I will see how you feel after you read your 2 heavy books.
Yeah.
Then I've got Redeeming 6, which is the Boys of Tommen book. I think I mentioned to you that one of the books is coming, the newest book is coming out in April. So I feel like I need to read this one so then I'll be ready for that one. But it's a very sad, depressing book, which is I actually like.
And they're big books.
Oh my god, they're so big. I actually started reading it and I had to stop because I was like, this is like too depressing. And I'm like, I'm not in a traumatic mood right now. Like I feel like I need so I don't know how I'm gonna be able to put that mindset back into like then I've got like I found this book on Book Talk and it's called I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you as well.
Oh, that's cute. That's very cute. Oh, actually I've seen that. Yeah. I did see that.
There's quite a lot of like ratings. I don't really know what it's about, but I thought the cover was really, 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 really pretty. And I was like, I want to read this book. But it just, I think when I first saw it come out on Book Talk, it wasn't even launched yet. Like people were like reading arcs of it. So then I was waiting and then I just checked that it's like now released. So I feel like that would be a nice. So I kind of just have a very random mix of. Yeah.
I think it's also like it's good like to have contemporary and fantasy because like I get so like once I read too many shitty contemporaries I'm like I hate reading. Why do I even do this? So I think it's nice to like mix it up.
Yeah, I just don't know like what I would want to read after I finish Magnolia's book now, which I'm only like 10% in, so I feel like after that it's like depending on what happens I'll be like okay I'll read this, I'll write this. I'm nervous. But yeah, so that's my list.
Well, I think that was a very nice chat about what we read and what we
with all the different little technical difficulties.
I know. Okay. Yes. But I think if you guys also like this episode and liked what we talked about just like what
book catch up, I guess.
Be reading.
Book catch
yeah. I like that. It's a book catch up. So let us know, then we can do more episodes like this. Then.
Well, I think it's actually quite nice because then I can see what you've read for the month of like this month, and then it also gives like,
and it also adds me like it's like what should I add to my TBR as well,
and also gives the other because we read such a variety of books. It gives like I hope you guys an insight. It's like oh I like this type of book, so I'm gonna read that as well, like because then like for you can add stuff that I read and I can add stuff that you read, even though all the stuff you're reading is so freaking sad, so I probably won't.
A little life, I'll let you know if you should add that to your
it's list. On my list but I'm like I don't even know if it will be a book I ever read because it just sounds traumatic, to be honest.
Like I think like this one I don't know why.
I don't know why you want to do it to yourself. I've seen enough like videos.
I think it's that's the reason why, like,
because you want to see if you're videos. Like gonna react.
Yeah, I want to see that, like, and it'll be funny. I think it'll be funny.
I don't think it will be funny while you're doing it, but it'll be funny watching it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just do it for the plot, literally. All right. Okay. I think. Yeah, well, thank you for joining us for this episode, guys.
Yes, if you enjoyed this episode, please rate us a 5-star on whatever platform you're listening. Hopefully the audio and the quality, everything is not too bad. Yes. But thanks for being here while we're like figuring things out, because audio, video, all that stuff, it's not our forte. So I feel like every week we're like we're learning something new, so that's like, nice.
What are we doing? So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, and remember,
life's better with fun.
Wait, I have to say it with you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to do it when it's like oh. Should we do a countdown?
No, you go.
Okay, remember, life's better with spice. Yeah, okay, good enough.